So today we're doing percent as change. Make sure you have a separate sheet of paper in front of you. You'll need to write everything down. If I go too fast in the video, feel free to pause it to make sure you have everything that's essential written down on your paper. Make sure you save this paper because these are your notes and we will need them for a later date. Our objective today is I can use the percent change formula to solve for percent increases and decreases. So let's define percent change. It's the percent in which something can grow or increase by, or the percent in which something can fall or decrease by. So we use a formula. Okay, so this is our percent change formula. Big minus small divided by the original times 100. So we're going to use B for big, and S for small, and O for original. Okay, so we have some examples down here. We have the original is $5. And the new is $3.50, and we need to find the percent change. So we have our original, so this is our O. And then we need to figure out which one is our big and our small. Well, 5 is bigger than 350, so that's going to be our big, and 350s are going to be our small. Okay, so then I set up my equation. Okay, I have a division bar and a minus, and I'm going to times 100. So this is how I always set it up. Okay, and the first space is my big, which is 5. So I put a 5 here. And the next space is the small, which is the 3.50. And then my original, which is my starting amount, was 5. Okay, then I'm going to type all that in my calculator. So I grab my calculator. You should be able to do this in your phone calculator, but you're going to have to do it in parts. So if you have a phone, you won't be able to type it all in, but I'll show you. So if you have a calculator like this, you click your N over D button. We're going to put 5 minus 3.50 on top. Then we're going to arrow down, and then 5's on the bottom. And if we arrow to the right, we're outside the fraction, and now we can put times 100. You have to arrow to the right and be outside the fraction for that to work. And you hit enter. So our answer is 30%, because remember we're doing percent change, so our answer is going to be a percent. We'll have to have the percent symbol. Now, if you're using a phone, you're going to have to do it in steps. So you first need to do 5 minus 3.50 and hit enter. Then take that number and divide it by 5, so whatever was on the bottom. And then you can multiply by 100. You're going to have to do it in steps if you're using your phone. Oops. Okay, but you should still get 30. So our answer for this is 30%. So I need my percent symbol. And I also need to tell my reader, did it increase or decrease? So if I take a look right here, I started with $5 and I ended with $3.50. The amount went down, so I decreased. So I just got to put a down arrow, and then that's my answer. 30% decrease. Okay, so let's try another one. I have my original, which is 22, and I need to figure out which one's my big and my small. I have 22 hours and I have 50 hours. Well, 50 is bigger than 22, so I'm going to put a B there. And 22 is smaller, so I'm going to put an S. And my setup is always the same. I have my division bar with a minus and times 100 on the outside. Okay, the first thing I do here in this first space is going to be my big, which is 50, and then my small, which is 22, and then my original. My original is 22 hours, so I put 22 on the bottom. Okay, and then I go to my calculator, and I'm assuming most of you have cell phones, so I'll do it the way you have to do it in your phone. So I have to do the top part first, which is 50 minus 22. I hit enter. Then I have to divide by the number on the bottom, so divide by 22. Hit enter. Then I can times it by 100. Hit enter. And I get 127.272. Remember, we're going to have to round, and when we round, we look at the third decimal place. It's a 2, so it's less than 5, so I have to just cut it off. I'm just going to put 27 at the end. Okay, so 127.27. And it's percent, so I need my symbol. And then I have to figure out, okay, did I increase or decrease? Well, I started with 22 and I ended with 50. So if I start with 22 and with 50, that means my amount went up, so I increased. So I need to put a little up arrow, and then that's my answer. What I'd like you to do on the next problem, it's the same. I start from $25 to 22, so this is the original. And this is my new, just in a sentence form. Okay, I want you to pause the video. I want you to try this problem on your own, and when you're done, play the video and see if you got it correct. So now that you've tried the problem on your own, we're going to do it. Okay, it's asking percent change, so that's how I know my setup is going to be this division bar with a minus on top times 100. Okay, the first space is my big, so I need to figure out which one is the big, the original or the new. 25 is bigger than 22, so that's my big, and 22 is my small. So in the first space, I put 25. In the second space, I put 22. And then I got to use my original on the bottom, which is 25. And I grab my calculator. Okay, and I'll do it again just like if you had a cell phone. So I have to do the top part first, so 25 minus 22, and I hit enter. And then I have to divide it by what's on the bottom, which was 25. Then I have to multiply that by 100, and I hit enter, and I have 12%. So down here on my answer, I'm going to put 12% with a percent symbol. And I have to figure out which direction did I go. Did I increase or did I decrease? So I started with 25, I ended in 22, so my number went down, so I decreased. So I need to put a down arrow on my answer, and I circle that. Okay. It's important that you have the arrow, because if you don't, we will take some points off for that. All right, let's try another one. Again, I want you to pause the video, try this problem on your own first, and then you can start the video and see if you got it correct. So now that you've tried the problem on your own, let's do it together. It asks, what is the percent change from 150 M&Ms to 175 M&Ms? So this is my original. This is what I started with. And this is my new. This is what I end with. Okay, it says percent change. So I know I need my bar with a minus on top and times 100 on the outside. And then the first space is my big, so I need to figure out which one's big. I have 150 and 175. 175 is bigger than that, 150, so that's going to be my big, and this will be my small. So I put my 175 here, my 150 here, because it's big minus small. Then I have to take my original, which was 150, and put it on the bottom. Then I grab my calculator, do 175 minus 150. I always do the top first, and I hit enter. And then I divide by my bottom, which is, what do we say, 150, right? That's our original. And then I multiply by 100. And I hit enter. And so I have 16.6666. It goes on forever. So I take a look at the third decimal spot. It's a 6, which means it's bigger than 5. So I got to round this second number up to 7. So it should be 16.67%. 16.67%. And then I need to figure out, do I go up or down? So I started with 150, ended with 175. My number went up, so it's an increase. So I need to put an up arrow on my answer.